Hey there guys, it's Metro and we are back with another video prepping you guys to learn everything you need to learn about Mythic Plus in Shadowlands even before the expansion is out. Now this is Mists of Tirna Scithe, which is probably one of the most unique dungeons that's ever been in the game. Hopefully it won't go down infamously like Tolagor and some of the dungeons we had in BFA, but this is one that you're definitely going to want to learn as much as you can before you even walk in here, because I'll tell you what, it's pretty frustrating, especially the end when you're not sure what you're doing, but I'm going to tell you everything you need to know for it. So first of all, this is from the stream, unfortunately. Usually I try to get better quality source footage, so you're probably not going to have a lot of success reading things on the screen. Pretty low quality for some reason, especially from the stream. I'm surprised, but it's the perfect run, and I have only one opportunity to show it to you. So I'm going to show you why it's the perfect run as we go, but yeah, let's get right to it. Very interesting dungeon. Right out of the gate, you're going to notice a bug here. You can just run down here, literally just start the dungeon before that timer on the screen. That's to dungeon start, okay? And we're just down here doing stuff. The mobs evade, but I mean, it's a bug. Obviously, that's not going to go live, but you will notice already these mobs. The Drust Spite Claw, I believe it's called. Now, these are mobs that look very similar to mobs from BFA, so these are easily to recognize. The Drust have like some deep connection with the zone for whatever reason. And these mobs here, there's going to be a couple packs of them coming up here. When they die, they put I think it's a damage taken or something like that. Some kind of bad debuff on you, okay? And out of the gate, I'll tell you as a tip here, even though I'm on a Brewmaster, you can AMS this as they die and it will not apply to you. But I believe it's like curse or something that can be removed, I'm fairly certain, because I've seen people remove it from me. Now, I'm combining that into this pack here. This pack has these soul cleavers or something like that. I think it's soul cleavers. You'll see they'll eventually put a magic dot on me. And that also, yeah, that you see it. Again, not great quality, guys, but you could see two stacks of it if you look closely. And I believe that also is another dispellable damage taken thing. So that one's a magic one, if I could guess. But yeah, you'll see once the Spike Claw die. See, I have 3 stacks of a thing. Kind of looks like that old currency from Karazhan back in TBC. I believe it's a curse because it does get removed from me. You can see on the left side the health bars. There you go. You see it's been removed from me while it's still on the other 4 players. So it has to be dispellable. I assume it's a curse. But honestly, another thing I notice here is that the mobs themselves have it. You can see here, again, right up here. They also have it, so I don't know if that's intended or what it's actually doing to the mobs. But this main mob here, this villager mob, this is basically, you're going to see a lot of this where there's like mobs that are attacking the zone and then mobs that are kind of being manipulated. So this is one of them. This is obviously a mob that would typically be like on your side of this conflict, but it's kind of being manipulated. So I think what the play is here is definitely combine this. If that buff does make this pack go quicker, get those killed quickly, and then when it dies, it starts healing you. You see it's casting that refreshing mist or something like that, and I'm fairly certain that heals and restores mana. You can see it here. It's on the 4 people here. I believe it's also restoring mana, but one way or the other, it's very, yeah, you can see the mana going up on the druid pretty rapidly there. So now here we make the first mistake of the run. This is a good mistake to learn from. And the reason I make this mistake is because I'm already thinking about count a lot, and I'm trying to get this sorted out early. But unfortunately, as you're going to see in this run, there's just doesn't really feel like there's any easy way to go under count without skipping something. Now, of course, you know, Rogue can probably do that easily. Maybe there's even a play without an Invispot / a Rogue. But realistically, I'd be interested in coming in here and seeing what you can and can't skip. I have a feeling this villager mob type probably has True Sight, but maybe not. Maybe you could skip the entirety of the start. That seems like a very viable strategy. And it's funny because there's one little thing that you could do. On the start of the dungeon, there's a little wall that's kind of a little partition between where we started and where we are right now. And it would only skip that first pull that we did. But if you're an herbalist, you can open that wall for some reason. So yeah, the wall opens and you just walk right through here. Now, you would likely have to pull the pack that I'm about to pull, but it would allow you to skip this pack down here. So I think that would still be less count than what we're doing now. And it would actually allow you to be very slightly just over count instead of maybe like about, you know, a full pack over count. But that's just something to think about. So you're going to see the first mistake here. You see now I'm using poor man's Gore-Fiends there. We're getting Brewmaster's getting a nice little utility piece. I kind of pull that thing closer, but then unfortunately I got a little too close to those mobs over there, those harvesters. So those mobs aggro, and that's a big loss to our potential count here. We certainly did not mean to pull that pack, and they're in the completely wrong direction. You can't see, but that wall that I was talking about is just up here, so you just kind of come down this path. Maybe you could hug this and kind of still skip this, but I haven't tried that yet, because I don't have herbalism, obviously. But yeah, pretty big mistake here. And again, these mobs, now there's 6 of these mobs this time, I believe, or is it 5? There's more than we had there for sure. So once they die, we're going to see the aftermath. But I'm also getting bleeds on us from something. Not 100% sure what's doing that. Obviously, it must be the villager, because the previous pack with the villager also had bleeds. But the mobs in along with it were the soul carvers or whatever, and these are harvesters, so the only same mob type, unless it's actually the spike claws. To be fair, it might be the spike claws too, but that would be a couple mechanics for them, so I'm surprised. But anyway, so yeah, you see we already have a stack. We killed one, another one, so it just refreshed, so not really ideal there. But now we got 3. Now we got 5 stacks, and as you see, the mobs have 5 stacks too, so presumably this is a kiss and curse type thing. They did talk a little bit about this over the years, how they wanted to add more stuff like this, but I'm not really sure that this is what they meant. So, but yeah, you can dispel it. Assumingly, you cannot get this off the mobs. I don't know if you would want to, but yeah, as you see. So I think the play here, honestly, is to just quickly kill that villager, and then he kind of just trivializes the rest of the pack. And I think honestly, the play might be to kind of or chain pull, I guess is probably the word for it. Like, use the buff that he gave us to grab the next pack here without any danger. You know, like that's going to heal you up. So like that's going to dramatically make the next pack easier. So that's pretty good. Now we got some soul carvers or whatever. You're going to see that magic debuff go out of me. That, again, easily dispelled by any healer. But yeah, there's no bleed on me this time. So it must have been those spike claws. So there you go. So learning as we go. But again, I think you really want to kind of burn this villager. He's just got way more health than the rest of the pack, though, so that's unlikely. I don't think that'll ever happen. But I actually die there. That's funny. And that's just because of that debuff, and I guess just poor play. I'm not the best Brewmaster. Typically, we'd be looking at Blood DK stuff, but we've been playing other tanks on the beta, so it's been fun. But they finish it no problem. And as you see, they're still receiving the healing. So now down here we got another 2 packs. And these packs, I believe, would be things that are definitely skippable, because unless, again, this really big mob here has True Sight, you can kind of hug around the side anyway. I mean, I'm not convinced that you might even be able to do this without a rogue. I haven't tried, but that'll be it for the future. So yeah, I guess it's that bow breaker. He's putting these kind of plants down. Presumably, I think it's probably just a slow and a dot. Not 100% sure. But yeah, that mob is relatively dangerous mob. You're only going to see it like I think 3 times in the whole dungeon. Is there one in this pack? No, there's not one in this pack. So here we just have 2 soul cleavers and 2 harvesters. So just basically a bunch of casters. Going to be relatively high magic damage pack, and as you're going to see, I get really slaughtered as a Brewmaster against magic, but again, mostly just poor play. So, but yeah, in general, just get these interrupts going. That harvest essence, not 100% sure yet, but seemingly putting a dot on everybody, that's probably bad, realistically. So just interrupt as much as you can here. And obviously these spirit bolts probably going to be like the casts in like a Shrine of the Storm or something like that, where not a lot of interrupts are going to go out. Sadly, your DPS are probably going to be a little lazy, but the higher you go, the higher fortified you go, the worse it gets. So you have to start thinking about that as a tank. And again, Brewmaster, not the ideal pick for that. So here we go. We have 2 of these bow breakers. This looks to me like a very important pack in the dungeon. It's probably like, it represents, like, it presents to me as the most important pack in the dungeon, because there's 2 very large mobs that aren't stunnable, they're not grippable, and you know, they have a fair amount of mechanics. So I have to imagine that this is going to be a very important pack. Not I don't think you can skip it. I mean, maybe you could. You probably could, actually, now that I think about it, because they run at you, and then the boss is just behind them. So if you were savvy enough to kind of sneak around them in the back and then aggro the boss, maybe you could skip them. Haven't tried it, but anyway, yeah. As you see, just doing they're putting these roots down a lot, and then they're doing this kind of AoE stomp damage. Not very dangerous for the tank, but for the whole group, there'll be a fair amount of healing here, and a lot of movement, I guess, is the bigger problem. So luckily they don't really seem like there's not any dangerous, like I don't see like any affixes interacting with them severely. There's just a lot of damage there. So and that was, I just showed that real quick, just I'll bring this up since it's in the video, why I topped the charts like by a mile there. This Covenant ability for Brewmaster is extremely powerful offensively, but it's a 3-minute CD, so, and you have to get a little lucky. It just summons like random mobs basically that do monk things. So okay, so let's talk about the boss. Now again, apologies for the quality, but you should be able to tell that there's 2 targets here. One is a Drust looking dude, very similar to Gorak Tool from Waycrest, looks almost identical. And then the other one is a mob from the zone. Okay, so how this works is the Ingra Malak guy has like a ton of health. As you see, he's got 1.7 million, which again, this is after the stat squish. And the other mob only has 400k health. So the way you're going to probably approach this fight is you want to be targeting the Droman, the tall tree-looking mob, because when she dies or whatever it is, when it gets to like lower health, it doesn't actually have to go to 0 either. It goes to like maybe 10% or something. It's going to debuff. It's going to stun as well the main boss, and he's going to take like way more damage. So you want to make sure that you're maximizing those burst phases, but you can just kill him too. Like it's perfectly possible. So let's talk about the actual mechanics on the encounter though. You actually saw it right there. Let's start over. So this guy just casts constantly. Again, I don't know how dangerous this is going to get. This Spirit Bolt, same thing from the trash. I don't know how dangerous that's going to get, but obviously, you know, you can interrupt that as often as you can. It's going to pretty much all he's going to do. I mean, he probably melees too, but it doesn't seem like he does a lot. And then this mob, I should have explained this earlier, but this is the exact same mechanic it does on trash, the same type of mob. This Bewildering Pollen, it basically shoots out this relatively long and narrow frontal cone, and if it hits you, you become disoriented, and that's probably a wipe if you're the tank, that is. If you're not the tank, it's probably not a problem. But see, it's very long. You could see just kind of by the animation, it goes out for like 100 yards. So now he's going to do Force Compliance, which he's going to basically control the mob, and he's going to make her throw out a bunch of AoE mechanics. So like we've seen mechanics like this, which are kind of just spraying out AoE damage, or not AoE damage per se, but like these kind of bolts that are flying all around. Easily avoidable, but they stay there. And they do not go away until you kill her the first time. Like every time you kill her, quote unquote, you push her, she gets rid of them. Okay, so as you see, dying relatively fast, 200k already. Oh, then he also does this mechanic. Let's go back to that real quick. But this Force Compliance thing is going to happen quite a lot. And there is a Repulsive Visage. Okay, now from what I can tell, I cannot find a way to not be feared by this. There's probably a line of sight. Like if you think about fears in BFA, I just usually AMS them. I mean, there's one force sphere that I'm always thinking about, and that's in King's Rest. But otherwise, you could line a sight like a tall, that fear in a tall. Tremor works too, obviously. But realistically, it might just be something that you're forced to take, and I don't know why. But it might be there to try to like accidentally fear you into these blue circles. So, I mean, that could easily happen. But realistically, very low danger mechanic. And then, yeah, as you see, so the room's really stacking up. I'm over here trying to get them back together. If I interrupt him, I think maybe I could bring them together. Because obviously you do want to try to cleave. Like any damage you're doing to one that might splash to the other is just lost damage. It's not like he takes 0 damage. Oh, do we actually wipe here? Oh, that's interesting. I forgot. So yeah, that's great. Because this is a really, really, really easy fight. And we wipe here, and it actually causes a little argument in the chat. Because the hunter does not know the encounter, so he's blowing all his damage on the Ingra Malak dude, and that incites this warlock who, yeah, unfortunately, I understand why he would be upset. But anyway, there you go. So this is a great run to look at. But another DK taking a lot of damage, probably just getting hit by stuff. But yeah, so you see, as soon as we push her, let's see if we can actually see that HP threshold. It's hard to tell, of course, because of the stream boss and all that stuff, but it looks like it might be like 20% or something, actually. Yeah, it's like I saw 19. That was the last number I saw, so it's definitely above 10%. So you really only have to do like 400k damage to her at this point. Really not much at all, as you see based on the DPS chart. That's very easy. That's only a couple seconds of combat. And then she's going to cast and stun him. You see, she actually interrupts his ability, which is nice. But now he's going to take way more damage. I don't know exactly how much it is. It's a lot, though. You see him getting dumped on right now. Ideally, we'd Bloodlust. You'd pop any burst here. But it doesn't last for very long. And then just like similar ones like in Workshop, or I guess in Junkyard, last boss in Junkyard, he's going to still, like before the phase begins, there's still a little bit of time where only him, he's the only one attackable. So you can get, you have this probably like maybe 15-second window of really high damage. Then you got about a 5-second window where there's nothing else to do anyway, so you keep attacking him. So that's kind of what you'll look at. And then once she comes back out, we're back on her, ideally. So, but yeah, so what I saw here a lot in the testing is 2 kills of the tree person, and then just finish the other dude off. Usually that's enough, depending on the damage, obviously, if people are doing good DPS. But that's what I've seen. And this is, again, a 10 without Tyrannical or Fortified. Just got no fixes. You can do that on the beta. So that's pretty much it. That's the whole fight. Literally just rinse and repeat there. You have to, again, actually see this time we basically didn't even come close to killing him. So I think we have to do a whole nother phase. But I did see many groups where 2.5 is all we need. We don't actually have to kill Droman at that point. The other dude's got like barely more health than she does. But at that point, actually really gets killed. But yeah, like we can do like a good amount of health, like maybe like 15% of his health just from cleave every time. So as long as you guys are ready to turn and switch to him, going to die very, very quick, as you see. So that's good. Especially the classes we have are actually ideal for that. 3 very bursty classes. So, okay, so let's go on to the next part. Now, this part is the famous part, and it's going to be the part that you're going to want to know everything you can about. Okay, so we're going to go through it. I'll explain everything I can along the way, but this is definitely going to be a key breaker here. I tell you what, if you get this key in the opening weeks and you're trying to actually upgrade it, good luck. Because there's going to be a lot of people who are very impatient and they're not interested in learning it, and they're going to really, really, really hold you up. They could literally wipe this key without any actual deaths. So every time there's these rooms, then you have to navigate. You'll see it shortly, but there's always trash in it, and the trash gets progressively harder as we go. At first, there's only these 2 mobs, defenders. Let's see if we could discern what they actually do. I'm not sure the names of the mobs yet, but there is a couple of important mob types. These ones look like they do this spear flurry, so just a little frontal cone, easily avoided, especially when there's only these 2. But it gets more complicated as we go because there's more and more and more mobs, and they have overlapping mechanics. So this part is not inconsequential. This might actually be some really difficult trash. But the main challenge here is going to be getting through these doors. Now, okay, I'm going to try to explain it to you. Hopefully you can understand by just looking at it, okay? There's 4, like, like little pillars, okay? They shoot out a little projection that has some discerning features to it, okay? Let's talk about those features. There's 3 possible features that you need to identify. I thought there was only 2, and for a very small period of time, I thought there was only 1. Here are the 3 features that you could identify. Let's see if we can get a better... Okay, so I actually just kind of did that way too quick. So let's see if we can get a good picture of what it looks like without having anything. Okay, there you go. Perfect. I think I might be on to the second one already. But anyway, you could see right here, okay? So there's 4 of these. They're going to pop up these icons, okay? This one has a ring around it. That's one of the features, okay? It has a shape like an icon, okay? So this is what you'd call a leaf. There's only one other option for both of these. There's either no ring or there is a ring, okay? And there's either a leaf or a flower. That's it. There's only 2 options, right now at least. And then the third feature is that it's not colored in. It's not filled in, you see? The third feature is that it's just an outline of a leaf. The outer ring is not featured in this part. It's not part of it here. But this inner, this image that is in the middle here, it can either be colored in, like it'd be all green, like you would expect a real life leaf, or this here, like fake ass leaf, like it's not a real leaf. It's just clear, you know. There's no clear leaves IRL, so you can tell those are the 3 features, and because of that, I was able to discern. So you're just looking at the 4. You're looking for 3 that have similarities and 1 that is the odd man out. So it's harder than it looks. There's a lot of combinations. And there's a lot of variables, especially if you're trying to do it fast. If you're trying to do it fast while you're doing trash, which is what I would recommend. So see, I kind of come up here, I mount, you could see it has the leaf that is filled in. It has a ring around it. So it's got leaf, filled in, and ring around it. So that's one. Okay, now we're gonna go over here and do the trash. Again, two more, oh wait, there's one defender. There's a couple different mob types in this pack. So first time we're seeing some of these mob types. Try to figure out exactly which ones are doing which, but the Spear Flurry, main mechanics here. I think the Stalkers are just like little dogs. Yeah, this is an easy pack. It's just little dogs. Not sure they do anything. They're like foxes or something, so not sure what they do, but nothing special, I believe. Just keep dodging Spear Flurry. But again, as we go, there's going to be more and more mob types, so that's the first one. I just went back there by accident. There's the second one. We see it is just a leaf without a ring and without any color in it. So far, we've seen a leaf and a second leaf. So we're thinking maybe one of these third ones is going to be a leaf as well. And then we know exactly what to look for in the fourth one, something that's not a leaf. Okay, you understand? So here is the third one. And as predicted, it's got a leaf and it's got a circle. And you could actually see the other one because the other players are near it, which is good. It's not, it works if 4 people go to 4 different ones, you could see them all. It's a little hard to see though. They have like this mist around them. But so let's recap. We had a leaf. We had 3 leaves. That's it. That's all you need to know. That's what you're discerning. 3 leaves. And then the fourth one is a flower. That's out. Okay. That's what the 3 have in common and the fourth one does not. So this is the correct path. Okay. You see, that's how you go. And then again, more trash, more defenders and more stalkers, I think. Oh, actually we're seeing this tender mob for the first time, I believe here. And I don't know if this trash is random or what. But yeah, there's a lot of different combinations that can be complicated here. I believe this tender tries to like heal them. You see there, nourish something. I just see it interrupted all the time, so I'm not exactly sure what it does yet. But realistically, it looks like a leaf. It looks like a heal, so probably a heal. Okay, so here we go. Flower with nothing. Filled in flower with nothing. Leaf filled in with nothing. What's this one? Flower stenciled, right? Okay, so we have a flower here filled in. We have a leaf, not like we just have a leaf. We have a flower without any color. And we have a leaf without any color and a circle. So I'm pretty sure, let's see what I do here. I think I get this one wrong. This is a really complicated one. Again, we have flower. I keep going, so you can tell I do this poorly. This is like way too slow, by the way. You got to get this in first try. If you fail it, you go all the way back to the beginning. And if anybody fails it, you all go back to the beginning. So I could easily see this. People just freaking sprinting forward, trying to keep going. And they're going to just go in without even checking. And it's going to send the whole group back. You could actually get trolled by your group here. They can literally just keep going in the wrong door over and over again. And you cannot progress the dungeon. And that is really a bad thing. So anyway, so let's see. So we have flower filled in. Leaf filled in. This is actually a really difficult one. Flower not filled in. And leaf not filled in. Jesus. I have no idea, honestly. I still don't know. This is how freaking annoying this is. Somebody got it, though. I guess it was this one. No. It was that one down there. So why? Let's try to figure out why, because I still don't actually know. This is how difficult this has been for me. Like, I'm not the brightest with this kind of puzzle, honestly. Okay, that was actually where we started. So let's go back here. Trying to figure out exactly which one it was, first of all. I believe it was the one to our right here. It's that one with the flower in it, I believe. And the druid doesn't understand. So he's already talking in chat about not understanding. And that is because he doesn't realize that there's 3 criteria, which I didn't realize either. Okay, so it's actually that one, the one on the left of the room. Oh, I think it's because it's got the circle around it, of course, right? So that's it. Yeah, that's it. There you go. So again, I'm not the best at this, but I'll tell you what, this has challenged me in a way that I didn't expect to ever be challenged by this game. So yeah, it's the one with the circle around it, surely, right? Is that the one that we end up going in? I have to imagine. Yeah, none of them have a circle except this one, so that means it's this one. So there you go. There you go. So this is the kind of difficult. I'm glad that we're doing this live because you'll see this kind of stuff. You have to really think quick, and if you don't get it, you might be spending minutes here messing with this. So, but anyway, more trash again. Every time you enter a room, there's going to be trash. There's no way to progress without killing the trash, from what I could tell. You can't just guess and go first try and go. You have to actually. This is a good thing because I actually get knocked into the wall there. If it allowed you to progress and that was the wrong wall, we would have got ported all the way back to the start, and then the trash would have been here. Oh, but anyway, one of those mobs knocked me back. Let's try to discern which. So yeah, there's something. I guess it's that mob to the right, the Snapper, I believe it's called. It does a root. So basically, that root there, 8-second root, it's a magic debuff. But yeah, you're gonna get rooted in these mechanics. There's even more mechanics coming up. And yeah, basically getting rooted in these mechanics can be very detrimental. So you have to really be cautious of that. So that's flower with no color. That's leaf with no color. That's a leaf with a ring around it and color. And that one is flower, full flower. So it's not that one. It's tough, man. I'm telling you, even looking back at this. So you see you go all the way back to the start. Luckily, the doors don't reset or nothing like that, though, so you just go back to where you were. But that's a big loss of time there, obviously. Having that happen is a huge issue, so... But it is only a 3-boss dungeon. That's something to keep in mind, so... Okay, so let's see this done again. Let's take another look. So, oh, yeah, so there you go. Somebody just randomly... Because the druid's just, like, recommending YOLO, basically, because he doesn't understand. So just keep trying. If you did this, this would take 20 minutes, this section. Because there's there's 3 options, I think, every time. And, yeah, obviously 3 permutation, however many. I think there's like 7 times you have to do this. So apparently it was that one. I don't know. But, yeah, we'll be looking at this again. Okay, so there's a Guardian and there's a Defender. I believe the Guardian is the mob that I've been waiting to talk about here. Let's see. Yep, there it is there. Bucking Rampage. Okay, so that's the Guardian mob. Misfell Guardian. Now this is a giant, or not giant, but it's like a relatively big circle. If you're in it when he's like doing it, you'll get kicked out, take a good amount of damage, and it's right. You see, I'm actually standing in the spear and the Bucking Rampage at the same time. Now, if I was rooted and I got hit by both of those, we're in serious trouble there. So this pack is actually, these packs can get really complicated. You really just want to stun that Bramblethorn. I don't know what that cast was. Maybe that's the root. I don't know where the root comes from, but randomly you get rooted. And again, if you're rooted in this mechanic and you're not a tank, you probably die here. I've seen a lot of deaths on this trash, so. Okay, so full. That's everything. Flower with the works. Leaf with the works. Leaf with nothing. Yeah, and that was it because I saw it over the corner of my eye that the other one was filled in too, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, there you go. So more trash again. Let's keep having bigger and bigger packs. More frontals to dodge. Bramblethorn coat. Not actually sure what that does, but you can see it's a magic buff on him. You see it's knocking, people are like getting shot away from the mob. We're taking a lot of damage on this trash, so... and now I'm rooted in the frontal, and I'm getting destroyed by that. So, and again, it's not fortified, so you can only imagine what things would look like. But, and this, I think there's at least one more room still to come. I can't exactly remember how many there are, but yeah, the trash gets pretty much harder every time. Stinger, and it's like a bee or something. Not actually sure what this mob type does. But just a little butterfly, just a little fancy butterfly. I mean, how many people, raise your hand if you like little fancy butterflies. I like them. Now here there's actually 4 options. So instead of the one being nowhere, there's actually 4 options. And our impatient friend here, again, so you can see how much time you're going to be wasting here. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. So, okay, so let's see what we do. I guess I had figured it out already. Fast forward a little bit too much. Let's see, we'll do it live there. So that's flower, filled in flower. That is hollow flower with the circle. That is full flower, or I keep saying, I always did this on live too, but it's not a flower, I meant leaf, obviously, the first 2. Okay, so it was that one. See it done again. Just to be 100% clear. So it's, Yeah, a leaf with color in it. I believe it's because of the color this time. Yeah, that's no color there. Nope, that one is colored in. Jesus, man, this is confusing. It's probably because the ring has to be the ring this time, I guess. So, there you go. Anyway, so that's some more trash. Another really big pull here, and then we do it all again. Same mobs. So you're gonna get knocked around. You're gonna get rooted. That DK's dead. I don't know. There's a lot of mechanics overlapping here. So, really good advice would be just kind of blanket stun them, try to grip them, gore fiends them, stuff like that to prevent them from casting all these abilities. But not 100% sure where this root's coming from. It's got to be from the Shaper mob type now. Probably just randomly roots people, but its magic can be dispelled, so probably going to want to get that off as fast as possible. And then here we go again. So leaf, filled in leaf, and he's rezzing while we do this. Oh, somebody already got it. Unfortunate. Okay, well that's probably good because we've seen everything we're going to see here. Okay, so now we have the third boss. Okay. Or the second boss, right? So this boss is actually very straightforward, but very complicated at the same time. There's basically only 3 mechanics, and we're going to see them all. And I'm going to go through them as they happen. But so probably a good fight to lust on, because when the shield thingy comes up, whatever, like the mechanic, let's just go through the fight. So there's dodgeball, okay? She throws out a snowball at all 5 players. Okay, so if all 5 players were stacked right on top of each other, all 5 of these arrows would shoot in the same direction, which probably is a good thing. But if one person doesn't realize it, then they're gonna die. So just something to keep in mind. You just move from where you were not, as long as you don't move into somebody else. Very easy. Now there's a famous mechanic there, isn't it? Patty cake. Okay. Now from what I can tell, this mechanic can only be interrupted by the tank. I don't know why, but it can only be interrupted by the tank. And if you do not interrupt it, you become disoriented for like 4 seconds or something like that. And it's pretty much GG. Somebody's going to die for sure. So you have to be ready for this. And I would definitely get ready with DBM or weak ores or something like that to make sure that you're interrupting it. Because if at any point you as a tank are not interrupting it, you might wipe the whole group because of that. Now the next mechanic, freeze tag fixation. It summons a little fox. That fox is going to walk towards the player relatively quick. Run, I guess, is the better way to describe it. It's going to run towards the player. If you get too close to it, you turn into a block of ice for like 6 years or something. It's pretty long. So you don't want to turn into a block of ice. You could hard CC them. You could treat them kind of like the ads on Yasma or whatever that, Alunza or whatever that fight is in Ataldazar. Or you can just kill them. You can knock them back, stun, grip, everything you could do to any mob in the game, you can do to these things. But I made the mistake of gripping them on top of the boss and getting people frozen. So if you have melee, you don't want to do that. But if you're the only one who does it, you can grip it and you won't be close enough to it. Like you grip and just kind of backpedal as you grip, and it'll grip it in front of you. You won't get frozen. So it can help. You could also try gore fiending. Okay, so here we go. Now this is where things get interesting. Summons 4 clones. While the clones are out, she's taking very, very little damage. I think it's like 90% less damage. So that's why I said Lust is a really good option here, because the more times you have to deal with these clones, first of all, the more chance you are of wiping and risking the whole key over it, but also because it's just going to really elongate the encounter. Like if you could burn through this so much so that there was only one phase of these clones, it would probably be half the time that you would, you know what I mean? Like if that was the power that you had, that would probably be like huge. Okay, so, oh yeah, it's a boss randomly resets here. Okay, so I don't know what caused that, but some bug. Obviously not gonna happen. So, okay, so dodgeball, patty cake, freeze tag. Now freeze tag's right on top of me. This happens all the time. I'm glad we showed this. Happens all the time. It's right on top of the boss. Melee are just AFK, spaced out, playing Demon Hunter, one of the 3, and they don't care. It just freezes them, and that's them gone for a long time. Here's another tough dodgeball coming because we're all in one area of the room. Just make sure you're not getting hit. Yeah, obviously ranged. Basically, the other 2 people who are not fixated want to kill that as fast as possible. Okay, so guessing game begins. It works exactly like the trash mechanic that we were talking about, but the other mechanics continue. So dodgeball still going out, still going to be summoning the fox. Most importantly, still going to be doing patty cake. That means you got to pay attention. I did this a lot We wiped a lot because of this, where I'm trying to do the full Monty here. I'm trying to figure out which ad we should be attacking. I'm staring at the icons, and instead, Patty Cake's coming up, getting smacked in the face with it, not paying attention, you know? So you gotta wait. Pretty much as soon as the phase starts, the Patty Cake will probably line up, get that interrupt, and now we can look. So we could see, again, it's kind of hard to see, but this one has a leaf, just a clear leaf. That one has a leaf fill, that's leaf with the works, and apparently that was the one. But you see everybody's frozen, so that's very suboptimal. 3 people frozen. Now they're dead too, so pretty bad. Pretty bad. I think we wipe here again, so there you go. Another run back. Obviously, we do not upgrade this key, but let's keep learning here. I take a look at this guy's Breath of Cindergosa for whatever reason. Here we go, freeze tag. I want to make sure that we don't let that thing reach the player. Good idea as a monk would be Ring of Peace, but of course don't have that. So you can tell, like, even though the video quality is low, you can still see that it's actually hard to see these when you're this far away. And I don't know if they did that on purpose, but there's like a mist that's kind of obscuring them. I guess it's kind of the same tech that was in the trash part. But anyway, we got a ring, a flower with a ring. Now Patty Cake's coming up, and I'm probably going to be in trouble here. I've already identified this. It must be because, yeah, you can see the others are all flowers. So this is just a leaf. So that means that's the one we're picking. But yeah, quickly interrupt, quickly mark the skull. Probably be, realistically guys, there'll probably be some kind of weak or some type of add-on that helps with this. I don't know if it's ever going to be able to do it entirely. There you go, Druid. Typing, I guess, is why he got hit by that. But frozen for a long time, and that causes him to get hit by that. But he survives it, luckily. Probably not going to survive it on real keys, so don't get frozen. But that's pretty much it. We're going to keep that mechanic. Usually I'm seeing this mechanic happen 3 times. That is the guessing game happens 3 times per fight, and you can't burn her. I tried it. She was at like a freaking 10k health at one point, and it just 90% damage reduction. So it's just gonna take like 20 minutes for that to finish. So okay, so let's see the guessing game again. Again, Patty Cake immediately. So we have a flower filled in, a flower to our right. We have a flower with a ring on it, and it doesn't look like it's filled in. Over there, I keep saying flower, but of course I mean a leaf. To our right, we had another leaf. So this is the only one that's not a leaf. That means it's the one you kill. You understand? So you're looking for, again, 3 factors. What type of object it is, whether it's a leaf or a flower. Then you're looking for, is it colored, filled in or not with color? And then you're looking for, does it have a ring around it? And you're going to find 3 things that are similar, and then you're going to find 1 thing that is not similar. It's either going to be 3 things have the ring, 3 things are all colored in, or 3 things are the same object. It could be 2 leaves and 1 flower with a ring, and then 1 without, and that means the one without is the target. It could be 2 leaves and 1 flower all colored in, 2 leaves and all flower, one flower not colored in. You know what I mean? It could be all of that stuff. So a lot of different criteria. It's difficult on the fly, honestly. But this actually, you see, she's got 45k health, and we're gonna have to deal with it. So I don't know what the hell that roll was, but seemingly it's this one. Let's see if we can figure out why. Probably just, I think we got a couple really easy ones on this pull. So there's a flower to my right, flower to my, yeah, it's all flowers, I think. Yep. So again, 3 flowers and 1 leaf. That means chop that leaf. And don't miss the interrupt. You missed the interrupt. That's GG, as they say. So anyway, that's that. Pretty cool fight. Again, the quicker you pull that, the quicker you get through that fight, the better. Now, we're coming out of this area with 85% count. Obviously, we pulled that 1 extra pack. So I think we'd probably be in like the low 80s. But there's a lot of different mobs here. A lot of different routes, I guess is the way to put it. They're all the same mobs, but a lot of different routes. The only thing I want to mention here for sure, this mob that I have, this Staghorn Skull, this mob does a castable shield. If it gets this cast off, it puts like a really big shield, I believe is what it does on these mobs. So not good. That's going to slow the pack down severely. But as you see, we can go right or we can go left. Then once we're down there, we can go right or we can go left again. And it keeps like, there's probably like a bunch of zigzags that you can take. Now, geniuses are probably going to find out a way to do very little trash in this area. But I think it might go the other way. I think top groups might end up skipping the beginning and then just trying to get all the trash here. Because realistically, this trash is very easy. Although the beginning is very easy too, because it effectively helps you as much as it hurts you. But this trash just kind of does nothing. Like, if it isn't that shield being interrupted, they're really not doing anything at all. To my knowledge, I'm not aware of them doing anything else. I mean, they did that little acid puddle. Like, oh, that's a tough one. Just move out of that. But there is these bugs flying around. These, like, what are they? Reavers. They're kind of just dead count, I'd imagine, at this point. If you aggro some of these, it's just dead count. And I can't really find an easy way to not aggro them. They're kind of just low-flying like bugs. And they put this poison on you and others too. So, yeah, these are just dead mobs. They're not needed for count one way or the other. And I don't know where they even come from. But, again, we got Staghorn and then a bunch of other smaller bugs. They're still pretty big, but Simulate Resistance, I believe it's called. So puts this giant shield on. So anyway, that's it. So there's a couple different routes. Then there's just one really big, like relatively big. I mean, it's got high volume, but it's, again, they don't do anything. This easiest trash in the game for sure. Or easiest trash in the dungeon for sure. And I guess when the small ones die, they put a little poop puddle down, which is fine. I mean, poop's bad for you anyway, so that's why you leave when you anyway, you move from that area. No big deal. Okay, so let's talk about the final boss. Now we are at where are we at in the footage here? We're at 241. We don't kill this until like 255 or something like that. This is the hardest boss in the game right now. No small. It's not even close. Let's put it that way. And I think it's just overtuned. So I'm not going to talk a ton about why. But there's a lot of mechanics. There's like way more mechanics on this fight than most 5-man bosses would have. And I think it's a really punishing last encounter. It's going to be insanely difficult on Grievous. If there's a Grievous week, I would say probably stay the hell away from this dungeon because there's just so much damage going out over the course of the fight. But let's take a look at it. One way or the other, absolutely mandatory lust fight, because this is another one of those fights that the longer it lasts, the more ridiculous it gets. So there's a lot of moving parts to this fight, and I have yet to discern a good strategy for it. But I'll tell you what I know is not a good strategy. Okay, first things first, that acid expulsion mechanic. Now in the dungeon journal, it's like cryptically telling us that this boss, gets smarter every time. It tries to predict your movement over time. So I don't know if anybody really knows what that means yet. Maybe there's some people who have done this like a million times and they know exactly what that means. But all I can tell is the more the mechanic happens, the more likely you are to take damage from it, even when you move from it. Basically, it's going to always shoot out a puddle on the ground, and then she's going to shoot one at you too. And I guess the one that's at you is based on some predictive, like if you moved 5 yards to dodge the first hit the first time, then the second time she's going to shoot one out 5 yards from the hit too, maybe. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if anybody knows because it's retarded. It doesn't make any sense. It's the dumbest mechanic in the game. It's not intuitive. It should not be in a 5-man. This should be in a raid fight. Should not exist in a 5-man fight. Yet it does. And you're going to see a lot of wipes on this fight, on the beta at least. Maybe it'll be easier. There's another mechanic, Mind Link. It's just like on Mythic Run end phase, if you remember that. I'm pretty sure it links everybody. I don't know. Sometimes I've seen it not link people, but it links at least 3 to 4 people for sure. I've always seen it go out many people. And then there's one dude who's the tether, and the other dudes are whatever. Or there's one dude who's the anchor, and the other dudes are the tether. The anchor has to move away from the tethers, so you're forced, and it's you got to move far, man. You see how far away I am from that person? If you could tell, you got to move far, so you're putting massive space in between yourself and your party members, and that's a big deal because of what happens next. So here we go, another acid expulsion. Now you see, oh yeah, you see how it's shot. You could actually see that. Let's see if we see that again. So this time she's going to throw out 2. And again, I have to imagine it's just wherever I ran. So you see there's one directly under me. This time I'm going to run about double the length that I ran the first time. So the first time I moved from here to here. This time I'm moving from here to here. And she's going to shoot another one out right here. Right where I guess I was the first time. As you see, 2 puddles. directly the direction I moved the first time. Now, I don't know how smart that is. I don't know how much smarter it gets over time. I don't know if that's all it ever does. Is it the previous time it's going to do it again, the same pattern? I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows yet, but all I was doing to survive this in the beta was just saying I'm going to move further every time. Just sprint away from it, and that seems to always be a good option right now. But I don't know like if the play is to just move together, because obviously there's a ton of healing. Another mechanic that I haven't explained is this accelerated incubation. It forces this consumption mechanic. Okay, summons a bunch of adds as well. Basically, this consumption mechanic, what you're meant to do is like break through a shield. It's doing a big AoE, so you're meant to break through the shield and then interrupt the consumption. But like probably like 70% of the time we did this fight, this mechanic come, we didn't have enough damage on the boss, so the full consumption, 10-second cast or whatever, full thing went through, had a ton of healing there. While she's doing the consumption, she's shooting out these giant blue hits of magic damage. If you get hit by that, you take a ton of damage. So there's the green stuff on the ground, which first of all does way too much damage. If you run through that, you take like 20% of your health as a tank. Way too much damage for a ground effect. There's just a million things to do and dodge. It's ridiculous. And then there's these bugs, which, I mean, I'm having a lot of trouble getting aggro on them. For me, I didn't feel like they had an aggro table, but I guess they do. So luckily, as Blood Decay, it'll be relatively easy, but other tanks I certainly worry about. But as you see, I mean, I don't know. We could sit here and look at every single time this goes out, but I am having a lot of trouble figuring out what the pattern is. So this is the one that I spawned. So let's see where another one comes down. Yeah, it's too hard to tell. I'm just moving too much. But I do think that that is probably the gist of it. Like, you're meant to just move a little bit further each time. And maybe the previous one is all that counts. But as you see, she shot out two, and a couple of them were really far away from the first one. And people took a lot of damage when they got hit by it. Like, in fact, obviously we wipe her, so. We do quite a few pulls. I think it's 255. Next time we lust, I believe we get it. Okay, so let's watch this pull. Now, so this guy's actually kind of arguing with me. He says we need to lust on the middle of the fight. So when we're getting overwhelmed by ads. There's more mechanics I haven't explained. There's these other ads that come out. I think they're just trying to mind control the player. It's hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure like it kind of attaches to the skull, like kind of like a hat, and it tries to force you to do its bidding. Maybe I'm not exactly sure, but either way, you're meant to kill it. The only reason we even succeed on this fight is because I can one-shot that mob with Touch of Death. Otherwise, if the mob actually successfully mind controls, I think there might be two mobs. There might be one that mind controls and then just another one that like stuns or something, because I've seen like different things. But let's put it this way. If the person gets mind controlled, they're fully attackable and you can kill them. So like you could easily kill your teammate while you're trying to AoE down the mobs. It's a terrible encounter. This is the worst. This is a raid fight, guys. This should not be in a dungeon. But it's important that you learn it, because realistically, a lot of this probably is not changing. So anyway, I was saying, like, there's no way we're going to kill this. You got to lust on the pole, because it's just a huge DPS race. And this guy's like, he's like, you can't be serious, basically. Why would we lust on the pole? Like, I'm not trying to learn the fight. I'm not trying to do this fight 30 times. I'm trying to kill the fight. We actually kill the fight, which is kind of impressive. So a lot of that is because Marksman Hunter is doing like insane bursts right now. But as you see, I'm moving very little the first time, and then after that I'm kind of just moving as far as I can. So that time only 4 people got linked. I was not one of them. I don't know. Maybe it's only 4. I don't know. But see, a lot of stuff to dodge. Acid Expulsion again. I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's quite confounding. I've done this dungeon probably like this boss at least like 20, 30 times now. I mean, this is the only time I've killed him. We came close to killing him a couple times, but as you see there, I mean, again, the explosion goes out. We move out of it, and it still hits us. So I mean, I'm not sure if I'm getting hit by somebody else's either. Like I don't think there's a way to tell. Somebody else might run into you, and you might get hit by theirs. The bigger problem here is that I was trying to keep this boss on the exterior of the room so I can get at least 2 of the ads immediately. and then we could kind of leave most of this gook on the ground in the same area. But then he goes back to the middle, or she, whatever, goes back to the middle for that consumption mechanic. So it's like, this room is way too big, the hitbox on the boss is way too small, and the mechanics are way too punishing. Like, you have to constantly move out of stuff. There's nowhere to go. Even though the room is giant, everything fills up really quick. You see, that guy gets crushed by that. Another mind link goes on 4 of us here. To run halfway across the game. I mean, like, you got to run from Eastern Kingdom to Kalimdor to break that. Look, it's still on these guys. Acid Expulsion. Look at, so that time do you see how far away I was from that? Let's see that one more time here. Wait. Oh, I went the wrong direction, Jesus. Okay, so here you see it. So this is where I am. I'm going to go like over here and it's still going to hit me. Yep. See, it lands just shy of me. I think I probably took a damage from it. And here's the mob that's like infesting this hunter. See, he's mind controlled. Yeah, he's mind controlled. But the only reason we succeed here is because I don't accidentally kill him. I use Touch of Death to one-shot that mob, and now he's back on our side. Otherwise, that dude was dead for sure. People are going to accidentally kill him every time. So we got really lucky. You know, it was good healing. Obviously, the druid did really well. But we got lucky at times, and we just squeak by. Just squeak by. I'm doing everything to just try to put this in so I can get a little help. A little HP back, but that time only 2 people got linked. Maybe it's because I was so far away from others it broke immediately. I don't know. But we killed the boss, and that is it. Very, 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 very complicated dungeon. And I'll tell you what, that last boss is just not fun. I hope that they change a lot, but I don't think they will. It already reminds me a lot of like the last boss in like Siege or something like that. It's just going to define the run. And it's really complicated. So that's everything. The middle part is what I expect most people will struggle with for a while. The last boss is probably just overtuned. So even though it's going to be mechanically complicated, it probably won't slow anybody down in the beginning of the expansion. But that middle part, absolutely, you could literally just lose a whole key there, and you might not even die a single time. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps. And we'll be doing all the dungeons, trying to get all of these out. Kind of like the new player guides that we did in BFA. But we're trying to get this out way earlier. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.